Hi, my name is Radhika Garg, and I'm going to present a paper titled The Last Decade of HCI Research on Children and Voice-Based Conversational Agents that my collaborators and I worked on last year. In this paper, we contribute an understanding of the current state of HCI research on children and voice-based CAs and the areas that should be addressed in the future studies. We searched and screened papers in February 2020 from ACMDL, ProQuest, and Scopus. Ultimately, 38 papers from core HCI venues published between 2011 and 2020 were reviewed. We excluded papers focusing on robots due to potential confounding factors such as physical movement, nonverbal expressions. I next elaborate on some of our findings. 12 of the reviewed papers use quantitative methods such as setting up experimental design or developed quantitative models including machine learning models or regression models using some form of corpus such as stories told by children or logs of child interactions with the system. A review showed that current research is heavily skewed towards Western-based views, cultural norms, and communicative practices, as most of the studies were conducted with participants who identify and live within Western culture. 7 main research themes were present in the 38 reviewed papers. The papers explored how children ascribed human-like qualities to CA, how conversational agents could support children's learning, such as learning through question answering, language learning, science or math learning. One paper also was design methods paper in this category. Other papers were around use and role of CAs in home and in family context, how conversational agent could support children's play or storytelling. 3 papers also explored the issues around information collected and revealed by CAs. And 5 papers worked with children with differing ability to see how CAs could support them. There were 2 papers that didn't fell into any of these themes, and hence we label them as miscellaneous. Based on the insights gathered during our review, we suggest 7 key possible future directions for HCI research in this context. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about 4 of the key takeaways of future directions for HCI research in this context. The first one is diversifying participants for culturally sensitive CAs. Except for a few studies that specifically targeted diverse families based on race and socioeconomic status, our review found that CAs are often studied, designed, or developed only with samples of children who typically have infrastructural support, are familiar with technology, and or belong to specific sections of society. Furthermore, only a small number of studies have taken into account aspects of children's intersectional identity while designing or trying to understand their interaction with CAs. Future avenues of research should focus on a wider range of linguistic capabilities and backgrounds to ensure that a broader range of children's voice is heard in CA design process. Further, engaging with more culturally diverse participants in children-based CA would enable researchers to develop a deeper and broader understanding of how CAs can be culturally tailored from a children's perspective. In this way, CAs can become aligned with the values and ideas that diverse children draw upon in their development. Second, we encourage researchers to further engage with theory. In our review, 14 papers engaged with theories or theory-based concepts to hypothesize, to design a study or artifact, or to analyze data. While scholars can continue engaging with literature from across disciplines such as education, speech-language pathology, and children's social and communication development, they may also consider theoretical approaches emerging from spoken interactions with CAs, that of adults. For example, scholars can explore how children's partners model evolve with age and how it influences their interactions with and perceptions of CAs. Another key aspect that we found across the literature was the notion of multi-party interactions specifically involving children. The HCI literature highlights the multi-party nature of CA technologies as they become embedded within home environments. And the topic of multi-party CA interactions with children appears in study of the use and role of CAs in home and family context. However, this set of work adopts a somewhat broad focus on interactions with CAs. We saw the need also to consider specific interactional sequence and to inquire into how to avoid conflicts between users through design. Scholars have indicated the importance of scaffolding their conversational turns to ensure fairness and avoid conflicts between users when CAs are used in collaborative gaming. This raises important considerations for designers and make the case for deeper understanding for how to equip such systems to respond to interactional dynamics through their design. For example, researchers may want to explore how power dynamics between parents and children intersect with CA use, and how CAs enable such dynamics to play out or not. Next, we recommend scholars to consider developmental stages and complex communication needs of children. Children's social, cognitive, and communicative skills change as they grow from infancy to adolescence. For example, younger children tend to have shorter attention spans than older children. Our review suggests that relatively few CA research papers target infant and toddlers and older adults. While limited research on infants and toddlers could be attributed to limited conversational capacity of children in these groups, there is nevertheless a need for the community to engage more widely across the age spectrum, particularly with older teens. Researchers also need to focus more explicitly on the diversity of children's needs. Our review shows a clear gap in this area. Only 2 of the reviewed papers explored children with complex communication needs, such as those with language impairments, with a further 3 papers examining interactions with CAs for children with autism. These papers exemplify the importance of understanding CA interactions with children having different abilities and therefore have specific needs and requirements, and of designing appropriate interaction with their needs. While work in this area can be built on adult-based CA research by looking at adults with diverse capacity, such as non-sighted individuals, people with stammer, this could only serve as a starting point and cannot be assumed that interaction with children might be the same as that with adults. Our review also revealed a lack of design-based research in the area of children's interaction with CAs. Only 5 studies focused on this topic, engaging with children in design through methods such as cooperative inquiry and co-design. While most of these design works included parents in design sessions, there is a need to include other relevant stakeholders based on the context under consideration, such as teachers for learning domain, therapists for the context of mental health. Furthermore, rather than on practical wide-range outcomes, these papers tended to focus on design recommendations and implications specific to the situation being researched, limiting their application to wider design practices. In keeping with previous speech-based reviews in HCI, more widely applicable design-based insights are needed to support the design of CAs for children. This could include the development of robust heuristics to support the design process, which are useful for facilitating the design and evaluation of products. Thank you for listening.